Welcome to CrimePrint, the podcast where we delve into the most chilling stories of criminal history. CrimePrint, by definition, is the undeniable imprint that crime has had on society and those who have been impacted by it. I'm your host, Thomas Marcum, and today we're exploring the life and crimes of one of America's most notorious serial killers, Jeffrey Dahmer. Jeffrey Lionel Dahmer, also known as the Milwaukee Cannibal or the Milwaukee Monster, was born on May 21, 1960, in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. He was an American serial killer and sex offender who took the lives of 17 males between 1978 and 1991. Let's delve into Jeffrey Dahmer's early life. By most accounts, Dahmer had a normal childhood until the age of 4. He was described as an energetic and happy child. However, a traumatic and painful recovery following surgery to correct a double hernia seemed to affect a change in the boy. He became noticeably subdued, increasingly withdrawn, and uncommunicative. Following the birth of his younger brother and the family's frequent moves, Dahmer's withdrawal intensified. By the time Dahmer was of school age, the family had moved to Ohio. From a young age, Dahmer developed a fascination with animal bones and studied how to clean and preserve them. As a child, he collected large insects and the skulls of small animals, preserved in jars of formaldehyde. Despite these unusual interests, his childhood was within the ordinary, with its typical ups and downs. While his family noted certain things in hindsight, no one thought at the time or had reason to think that Dahmer would become what he became. It's important to note that upbringing doesn't necessarily correlate to criminality, let alone something as extreme as Dahmer's actions. Dahmer himself dismissed any connection between his home environment and his later acts. His life serves as a chilling reminder of how complex the human psyche can be. At this point, I'd like to take a small pause and explain something that's going on that you may hear. In the background, you may hear my bird, who squawks occasionally. And also, it's only fitting and appropriate that heavy rain is falling on the day I'm recording this. With that said, let's turn back to the life and times of Jeffrey Dahmer. Dahmer's victims were mostly black men who were sought out at gay bars, malls, or bus stops. He lured them home with promises of money or sex, and gave them alcohol laced with drugs before strangling them to death. He would then engage in sex acts with the corpses before dismembering them and disposing of them, often keeping body parts as souvenirs. Dahmer's first murder occurred in Bath Township, Ohio in 1978. Over the course of more than 13 years, Dahmer's crimes escalated in their brutality. He frequently took photos of his victims at various stages of the murder process, so he could recollect each act afterwards and relive the experience. Dahmer was captured in 1991 and sentenced to 16 life terms. He was killed by fellow prison inmate Christopher Scarver in 1994. Scarver was in prison for murder. He had took a trainee carpenter job with promises that he would have a full-time job once he completed the training. When that fell through, he took revenge on a former boss and fatally shot him. Scarver was given a life sentence in a correction facility in Portage, Wisconsin. This was also where Dahmer was imprisoned. On the day of Dahmer's death, Christopher Scarver, Jeffrey Dahmer, and Jesse Anderson were assigned to clean the gymnasium. It was during this time that Scarver not only beat to death Dahmer, but also Anderson. Once he had beat them to a bloody pulp, he calmly walks back to his cell. Dahmer's crimes shocked the nation and provoked criticism of local police. His arrest resulted in an upsurge of popular interest in serial killers and other crimes. Dahmer's life and crimes have been subject of numerous books and films, reflecting the public's continued fascination with his case. That's all for this episode of CrimePrint. I know it was a short episode, but join us next time as we continue to explore the dark corners of criminal history. Until then, stay safe. Our goal with this episode was not to glorify Jeffrey Dahmer's crimes or Jeffrey Dahmer. It is to provide factual information about Dahmer's life and the crimes that he committed.